astuces pour maximiser ces avantages et assurer votre tranquillité d'esprit. Saviez-vous qu'il existe des stratégies pour optimiser votre remboursement et bénéficier de services supplémentaires? Laissez les experts de Vision Assurance vous guider. De plus, nous vous expliquerons comment profiter de programmes de fidélité et de récompenses exclusives offerts par Vision Assurance. Vous pourrez ainsi maximiser les avantages de votre assurance et bénéficier d'une tranquillité d'esprit totale. Avec Vision Assurance comme partenaire, vous pouvez être sûr de tirer pleinement votre couverture d'assurance. Ne manquez pas notre prochain épisode de 60 secondes avec Vision Assurance. À très bientôt.
Good evening and thanks for joining us on the 7 p.m. newscast on Visionca Television. With me, Solomon Su, here at today's headlines. Members of State of the Economic Community of West African State ECOWAS, excluding those under military rule, have affirmed they are ready for armed intervention in Niger. The defense chiefs of these states have since Thursday been meeting in Ghana to see how they can carry out their intervention. And in Cameroon, ECOWAS are struggling to come up with strategies on how to curb lack of electricity in most remote areas in the country. They held a workshop today with members of the Ministry of Water Resources and Energy in Yaoundé to this effect, which falls in line with the project on regional electricity out of network. And some members under milk production and transformation is still very low in Cameroon, despite being included in the 2030 National Development Strategy Plan. Actors of the sector have been meeting in Yaoundé to find ways on how the dairy sector can contribute to the structural economic transformation of the country. Plus, photographers in Douala have made an exposition of photos on the city, both in the past and present. Hundreds of city dwellers have been taking a look at the pictures, appreciating the town's change over time. And those are the top stories of today's newscast. The news will be yours in full when we come back after this short break. Good evening once more, and thanks for joining us on the 7 p.m. newscast. ECOWAS member states, except those under the military rule, say they stand ready for armed intervention in Niger. The defense chiefs are meeting in Ghana since Thursday to coordinate the possible armed intervention to reserve a coup in Niger, as Germany called for EU sanctions against rebel leaders. Diana Dreswang has more in the upcoming report.
Alarmed by a series of military takeovers in the region, the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, has agreed to activate a standby force to restore constitutional order in Niger. ECOWAS is demanding that the coup leaders release President Mohamed Bazoum after his July 26th ouster, warning that the bloc could send in troops as a last resort if negotiations fail.
Let no one be in doubt that if everything else fails, the valiant forces of West Africa, both the military and the civilian components, are ready to answer to the call of duty. By all means available, constitutional order will be restored in the country.
ECOWAS troops have intervened in other emergencies since 1990, including in wars in Liberia and Sierra Leone. Ivory Coast, Benin and Nigeria are expected to contribute troops, but little detail has emerged over a potential Niger operation. The Nigerian generals who have detained Bazoum blamed deteriorating security in the country for the coup and have threatened to charge him with treason. They have, however, said that they are open to negotiations, while Russia and the United States have urged a diplomatic resolution to the crisis. ECOWAS has already applied trade and financial sanctions, while France, Germany and the United States have suspended 8 programs. The Accra meeting of top army commanders on Thursday and Friday came after fresh violence in Niger, with jihadis killing at least 17 soldiers in an ambush. The unrest across the region has killed thousands of troops, police officers and civilians, plus forced millions to flee their homes. Analysts say that any ECOWAS intervention against Niger's coup leaders would be militarily and politically risky, and the bloc has said it prefers a diplomatic outcome.
And lawyers of Senegalese opposition figure Ousmane Sonko and his dissolved opposition party have said he had been admitted in a hospital intensive care unit, even though he has been detained since July, and is waging a talk of war with authorities and the judiciary. Diana Joyce Ngwang has once more in the upcoming report.
Several government officials have recently declined to confirm or deny that Mr. Ousmane Sonko, a declared candidate in the 2024 presidential elections, had been admitted to intensive care. He was jailed at the end of July on various charges, including calling for insurrection, criminal association in connection with a terrorist enterprise, as well as undermining state security. Sonko, who claims to be the target of a plot to keep him out of the presidential election, went on a hunger strike July 30, and authorities question whether he was strictly observing the strike. One of Mr. Sonko's lawyers said that he went to the intensive care unit of Dakar's main hospital Thursday, where he obtained confirmation of his client's presence there. He preferred not to approach him, but said that Mr. Sonko had not recovered his senses since he was admitted. Ousmane Sonko's Facebook page, which is still active, reports that he was admitted to intensive care unit in Dakar's main hospital following a fainting spell on Wednesday evening. Leaders of his party, PASTEF, whose dissolution the authorities announced at the end of July, relayed the message on social media networks. Sonko, 49, has been hospitalized since August 6th, and his supporters as well as lawyers have been sounding the alarm about his state of health ever since. Mr. Sonko has since cried foul to a conspiracy as the presidential camp accuses him of harboring an insurrectionary project. His lawyers insist that he remains eligible despite his convictions. On the contrary, the Ministry of Justice said 1 week ago that he had been stripped of his electoral rights.
And Gabonese in Douala have joined their brothers back home to celebrate the 63rd anniversary of their Independence Day. They assembled yesterday evening at the consulate in Bidi, Douala, together with their honorary consul, Defo Chomchua Romeo. Rex Afon has details from Douala.
It's now 63 years since Gabon became a sovereign state. The immigrants of the country here in Douala, who majority of them are students in higher institutions in the city, assembled here at the consul to enjoy the moment of communion together. His Excellency Defo Chomchua Romeo, honorary consul of Gabon to Cameroon, used the occasion to call on all his fellow countrymen to remain united, especially in the wake of the presidential elections.
Nous nous sommes réunis aujourd'hui pour fêter le 63e anniversaire de l'indépendance de notre pays.
He has also saluted the cordial relationship that exists between Cameroon and Gabon.
Sans cacher, c'est que ici je célèbre même plus la fête de l'indépendance que quand je suis au Gabon.
Pambo Antaguilene, a master's student, says she celebrates the Independence Day of her country better while in Cameroon because of the hospitable nature of Cameroonians. The divisional officer for the Douala 5 subdivision, Anyafo Kletu Sasongwe, alongside other local municipal authorities, joined the Gabonese community here in Douala to celebrate their Independence Day.
We now take you over to Kenya to meet a man who cooks and eats crocodiles. According to the man, it is a means for him to fight against the shortage of food in his community. Pris Kangase in the following report presents the cockroach consumer.
This is John from Kenya, who believes cockroaches can potentially solve the problem of food insecurity faced by many communities in his country. High in protein and other essential nutrients, these creatures offer a sustainable alternative to traditional protein sources. Back in his kitchen, John starts preparing his cockroach by washing the insect thoroughly and removes the wings and the legs. With a pinch of salt and pepper, they are ready to be cooked. According to John, the creatures have a mild flavor that pairs very well with various seasonings. John's signature dish is fried cockroaches with a spicy tomato-based sauce. To him, they taste absolutely delicious. John is not only challenging the traditional boundaries of cuisine, but also offering a potential solution to global food sustainability. In a world where creative chefs put culinary boundaries, John stands out with his innovative use of cockroaches. His passion for creating unique and sustainable dishes is inspiring to others to think differently about the food we consume.
Now in Cameroon, some members of the Economic Community of West African States and others from the Ministry of Water Resources and Energy have held a workshop on the launching and sensitization for polymakers on autonomous solar technologies. The workshop that took place in Yaoundé falls in line with the project on regional electricity out of network. Details in the upcoming report.
The project on regional electricity access out of network, in which Cameroon is included, constitutes two main components. First, the development of regional market for solar systems out of network, aimed at putting in place a favorable atmosphere, provide technical and financial assistance to private enterprises, and to ease access to market out of network. Secondly, the access to finance that has as goal to permit the private sector accede to the funding of solar products. The West African Development Bank, which is the agency in charge of the execution of this component, will provide funds for this project. Therefore, during today's workshop, the actors, who included some ECOWAS representatives, some members of the Ministry of Water, Resources and Energy, and some private enterprises, amongst others, presented the new conception on regional electricity access out of network to the concerned actors of each of the countries involved in the project, and to equally mobilize them for active collaboration for the instating of a good national development policy. The participants discussed on the situation of autonomous solar systems in these different countries, activities planned for the implementation phase of the project, the identification of needs for the technical assistance for key actors for these countries inter alia. It is estimated that within the 406 million persons residing in West Africa and the Sahel region, 208 million inhabitants do not have access to electricity, and about 70% of them live in rural areas. At the end of this regional project, in which such workshops will be carried out in all 15 ECOWAS member countries and 4 other non-ECOWAS member countries, including Cameroon, results such as a list of technical assistance needs for key actors, difficulties linked to the broadcast of solar technologies out of network are expected.
Milk production in Cameroon still remains very low, and in Cameroon, despite being included in the 2030 National Development Strategy Plan, actors of the sector have been meeting in Yaoundé to find ways on how the dairy sector can contribute to the structural economic transformation of the country. With more on this is Prince Munditanda.
The government of Cameroon has earmarked the dairy sector amongst key areas which will stimulate its Vision 2030 National Development Strategy.
It was a national development plan which want to be implemented it's very important to develop dairy production in Cameroon. As you know, for import substitution, milk is one of the speculation we are involved in this project of import substitution.
The production and processing of milk is very strategic and can contribute enormously in the structural economic transformation of the country.
Animal breeding is an important element of development of our country because we have around 5 million cows and more than 30 million small animals breeding. Therefore, you want to, as the head of state said, if you want to substitute local production to import, we have to transform to produce more, to ameliorate the production, animal production, for meat, for milk, and it is an important sector for the development of this country.
Though it's a lucrative sector, actors still find it difficult to produce in industrial quantity due to a number of challenges.
The problem of breeding the space, especially in the final, because there's not enough space now. Second point is to food, because water and food during the dry season, okay, and also problem of health, because the big issue is that between Cameroon, Chad, and Nigeria, north of Nigeria, you have animals going everywhere. Therefore, if we could have health problem coming from other countries, how to solve those problems?
It's against this backdrop that the National Association of Cattle Breeders of Cameroon, in partnership with GIZ and European Union, have organized a workshop in Yaoundé aimed at handing over their project on how to develop sector to the government.
And joining me on set is Euroline Ntombo Piamo, Deputy Director of Academic Affairs, Kalata International Higher Institute, to talk about or to tell us more about the school. Good evening, Euroline, and thanks for joining us.
Good evening, Mr. Su. Thank you for inviting me today. Okay,
before we come back to you, we are going to take this report from the Southwest region, where Bororo youth in Kumba have been called upon to be ambassadors of positive change in their localities. This was during the commemoration of the 29th edition of the Indigenous People Day, chaired by Mujini Irene Mubat, Meme Divisional Delegate of Social Affairs. Gillian Bende completes that story from Kumba.
In commemoration of the 29th edition of the Day of Indigenous People, a day set aside by the United Nations August 9th under the theme Indigenous Youths as Agents of Change for Empowerment, the Divisional Delegate of Social Affairs, Madame Mujini Irene Puz Manga, called on Bororo youths in Kumba, Meme Division of the Southwest region of Cameroon, to be ambassadors of positive change in their environment and spread the head of state's message of the implementation of social inclusion of disadvantaged people. Speaking August 17th, at the banquet hall, she used this medium to announce the political participation of children through the selection of a Bororo girl child, Omul Farida, to represent children in the junior parliament, while reassuring them of the issuance of 30 birth certificates and marriage certificates to simultaneously facilitate education and the solemnization of marriages.
Using the national theme, which is citizen education, as a strategy for the social inclusion of indigenous people, we selected a Bororo girl child to represent children in the junior parliament in the June session by name Honorable Omul Farida.
The Bororo youths, in their uniqueness and originality, use this medium to carry out exhibitions of their culture through traditional dance, cultural parades, vocational activities. Likewise, drama, passing across the message of the importance of submission, despite the fact that most of the women are being relegated at the background.
We have a problem of education. They hardly educate a girl child. When you attain a certain level of education, again, it is another problem. Many of us cannot get married because we have attained a certain level of education.
These people are ranked the highest in terms of illiteracy, poverty, malnutrition, unemployment, and as such are determined to take control of their destiny.
Hellenic American University is pleased to announce its partnership with the Institut Supérieur Kalata in Cameroon as its hybrid learning center offering MBA and bachelor's degrees. Students at the Learning Center in Cameroon can access a range of exclusive benefits, including major scholarships and opportunities to engage with visiting faculty and industry leaders, attend special mini-seminars, or complete 1 or 2 semesters at our campuses in Greece or USA if they meet the requirements. Don't miss the opportunity.
And that is just a tip of what Kalata International Higher Institute is. With me on set to discuss more on the school is Yorolin Ntombu Piamo, Deputy Director of Academic Affairs, Kalata International Higher Institute. Good evening and thanks once more for joining us on set.
Thank you.
Now, please, can you briefly present to us what Kalata International Higher Institute is?
Yes, good. Kalata International Higher Institute is actually an international school which operates under the academic supervision of the Ministry of Higher Education and the Ministry of Employment and Vocational Training. Mm-hmm. We do offer international training programs in HND, professional bachelor's and master's degrees programs for people interested in specialties like business studies, management studies, computer engineering, legal studies, and all the rest. And the school has a large set of partnerships worldwide that will give the possibility to our students to continue with their studies abroad through scholarships or through a system of hybrid learning center, whereby the student will have 2-year studies here in Cameroon, and the next year they further their studies abroad. With the different partnerships we've concluded with countries like Canada, the United States of America, France, Greece, Ireland, and other partnerships that are still to come.
We assume that those are the advantages of studying in Kalata Higher Institute. Now, who is eligible to be part of the programs of your school?
All the Cameroonians, all the young graduates in Cameroon, be it the young graduate, the student that just had the GCE A-level, be it the young workers, or even old people that are still interested in completing their level of competencies. We are all inviting them to come to Kalata to get more, because we need to upgrade ourselves on a daily basis.
Now, where is Kalata? Can you tell us precisely where Kalata is situated, and if possible, the contacts where we are, how can get to you?
Yes, Kalata is actually located in Yaoundé, the capital of Cameroon, the political capital of Cameroon, at the level of Poste Centrale, just opposite Campus France and the French Institute. When you get there, you will see the annex building of the CNPS. You get to the building at the 1st and the 7th floor. You will get Kalata there. And the contact of the school, I will give it. If you are interested in any of our specialties, you can contact us through the number 690915585. I'll repeat again, 690915585.
Now, before we take a leave of you, can you just remind or recall to some of our televiewers some of the basic programs that you offer in Kalata?
Some of the basic programs we offer in Kalata, as I said before, we train people, we prepare people for the HND examination, for the bachelor and the master's degree program. And the large set of our specialty include actually business studies for all those interested in doing management, doing human resource, banking and finance, accountancy for all those interested in international business, for all those interested in legal studies, and all what it composes.
Okay.
You can come to Kalata.
Okay, thank you very much, Yurolin Tombu-Piamu, Deputy Director of Academic Affairs, Kalata International Higher Institute. Thanks once more for coming to sharing this evening with us.
Thank you, and I'm thanking also the whole population of Yaoundé who are listening to us today. We are calling upon you for you who are parents, to bring your children to Kalata. We are going to train them. We have a lot of opportunities. What matters in Cameroon is lack of information. When you have the best information, you can provide your child with the best opportunity to travel abroad and come back in Cameroon to develop the country. So we are calling upon you to come to Kalata and let us together enjoy all the benefit we have to offer to you. Thank you.
Okay, definitely we know that your message has not fallen into deaf ears. Thank you once more, Yurolin Tombu-Piamu, Deputy Director of Academic Affairs, Kalata International Higher Institute. Now, photographers in Douala have made an exposition of photos of the city, both of the past and the present. Hundreds of the city dwellers have been taking a look at the pictures, appreciating the town's change over the time. Rex Afon spoke to some of the authors of the pictures and fight in this report for the 7 p.m. newscast. We are surely going to get back that report from Rex Afon, where photographers in Douala have made an exposition of photos of the city, both of the past and of the present. Now, city dwellers of Douala have taken a look at the pictures, appreciating the town's look in the past and in the present, and he spoke to some of the authors of these pictures and then fight in this report for the 7 p.m. newscast.
This is what Douala looked like in the past. This is what it now looks like today.
We decided to do some exposition showing the town of Douala or Akwa some few years back, because we believe that a people without images is like a people without a culture.
Photographers say an event that is not filmed will be difficult to prove its holding or existence.
We believe that we need to perennize the pictures we are taking, to conserve the pictures we are taking, because in fact we believe that that's how a nation can be enriched. For example, the axe pictures of Douala 50 years, 30 years ago, we have been neglecting it. So due to this day of world photographers, we decided as professional photographers to do this exposition so that the public can also come and have a view.
The local population are enjoying looking at the pictures, which gives them an idea of what the city used to be.
I'm a photographer since 1972.
Nicolas Eyidi, who has been in the field for such a long time, says the problem with the sector is that many who are not professional photographers have infested the sector. Reasons why quality photos are not taken and souvenirs are not kept for the future generation. This activity is part of others, which is being undertaken to mark the International Day of Photography, which is celebrated every August 19.
And it is on that report coming to us from Douala, produced by Rex Afon, that we draw the curtains on this edition of the 7 p.m. newscast on Visioncat Television. But before we take leave of you, a recap of our major stories. Members of the Economic and Community of West African States, ECOWAS, excluding those under the military control, have affirmed they are ready for armed intervention in Niger. The defense chiefs of these states have since Thursday be meeting in Ghana to see how they can carry out their intervention. And in Cameroon, ECOWAS are struggling to come up with strategies on how to curb lack of electricity in most remote areas in the country. They held a workshop today with members of the Ministry of Water Resources and Energy in Yaoundé to this effect, which falls in line with the project on regional electricity out of network. And you also heard in this newscast that milk production and transformation remains very low in Cameroon, and despite being included in the 2030 National Development Strategy Plan, actors of the sector have been meeting in Yaoundé to find ways on how the dairy sector can contribute to the structural economic transformation of the country. And photographers in Douala have made an exposition of photos of the city, both of the past and the present. Rex Afon was telling us how city dwellers have been looking at the pictures, appreciating the town's change over time. The next edition of newscast on Visioncat Television is at 8 p.m. with Shimen Baleba, who is already preparing. As for me, I will join you tomorrow at 7 p.m. for the 7 p.m. newscast. Thanks for watching. Good evening. Stay blessed.